Hello and welcome to some more Star Citizen with a monthly Squadron 42 report, including a Vanduul character update and work on a broader vertical slice. This is a summary of Squadron 42's newsletter from the 16th of April. I have omitted anything that was identical to the Star Citizen monthly report that was also released recently. Go check out that video for even more updates on the project and associated tech that's also being assimilated into both games. Links below. Squadron 42 Episode 1 is planned to be in its beta phase and content ready in Q2, so end of June it looks like, of 2020, as shown currently on the roadmap for Squadron 42. And there has been progress on various areas of the game over the last few weeks, and bits that they're working on now that we will cover in this video. Over the last month, the character art team has further developed concepts for Squadron 42's alien species, including finalizing textures for the Vanduul. We now have an updated Vanduul model, at least we've seen the head and torso of it. The Vanduul are the major alien antagonists in Squadron 42 and will have actors' performances driving them like Andy Serkis. This update to the Vanduul looks awesome, but there's the potential we could see other aliens in Squadron 42 as that statement suggested. So it said, working on Squadron 42's alien species, including the Vanduul. So maybe we might see the Banu around, maybe some Xi'an, that sort of stuff. Tavaran have been assimilated into the UEE, so we could see Tavaran crewmen even. Character and animation stuff, Master at Arms Duncan Chakma has had various setup done with him for his scenes and actions, because he's quite complex as an NPC as he handles, picks up, and returns and moves various weapons and items known as usables from lockers and tables to the player, so that gives them to them for inspection. There was lots of optimization for usables in general too, including the caching of usable entries and TPS queue time slicing for lots and lots of improvements for usables there. Social AI and NPC behaviors saw updates to crew schedules, and they're starting to make better use of usables for those NPCs, and they're connecting like the character animations to specific usable dimensions for more realism when picking up and inspecting items. The look at system saw more work focusing on head and eyes this time. The system has NPCs tracking the player and other NPCs holding their gaze to their appropriate sort of like position when they're having a conversation with them. Eyes are now perfectly aligned and look right into the camera and the player's eyes in a natural way. They are investigating having some more subtle saccadic eye movements during conversations to help move away from the uncanny valley and the cold, dead eyes looking at you. So now this would have eyes scanning the face rather than staying entirely focused on one spot. Modelling work continued on several outfits too, such as the Basilisk armour and pilot flight suits, both of which are awaiting low poly texturing. Progress continues on the female character model too, which is closely related to the customizer features recently added to the Persistent Universe, and you will be making a character in Squadron 42, so bear that in mind. The active featured team finished off Vault and Mantling, which is climbing over objects or like shimmying your way up on objects, pulling yourself up. This included validating the mechanic with the new female character as well. They've now moved on to the next iteration of jumping, making progress on animations by simplifying the selection count, giving more weight and polish, and utilizing time warping tech. The first pass of unarmed, non-lethal stealth takedowns have been implemented, which allow the players to punch and knock down enemies now. They have adjusted the way story scenes are set up and how NPCs enter and exit to make sure they're positioned correctly. There's been updates to performance capture, and in-cockpit scenes are currently being swapped from the narrative placeholders to the more polished final representations that support branching, conversations, reputation, and player actions. AI push and pull behavior has been improved too, so NPCs flying with the player can't get too far ahead or fall behind. They worked on combat AI systems to give enemies several new weapon options to choose from when encountering the player and hostile NPCs. Environments-wise, the Squadron 42 design team continued a push towards a broader vertical slice for the first third of the game. This focus threw up a number of technical challenges that had to be overcome to get all of the game's chapters linking correctly and consistently within the mission flow. I hope this is some form of vertical slice they will be sharing with us this year, potentially, at CitizenCon. To have a vertical slice like this, obviously, it's important for them to see how the game works and is operating, so that it's meeting the sort of like requirements that they set out for it, but also it's the sort of stuff that they show off to media, and hopefully it's something they share with us, is what I'm saying. Two important locations have seen work recently, one near a blasted and dying planet, and the other close to the coil. Assumedly, that is both in the Odin system. In the coming weeks, more devs will move on to those locations with the aim to get them content complete for a handful of chapters by the end of the quarter. Deep Space has been getting an art overhaul as well, with 3 key locations called mini-systems internally now in place and ready for polish. These systems form 3 separate parts of the overall Squadron 42 map, and each has its own unique flavour. They're also designing a social hub, a foundry for a major space station, a visual target for an asteroid base, and a number of other tasks that they can't talk about just yet. They're also moving ahead on how mission markers and placement are going to be perceived by the player in-game. A capital ship is being brought up to scratch by the same team who worked on the Idris M. They're now working on vector fields as well to make particles move in a more realistic and interesting way around certain ships' hulls. I'll share a little picturette, if I remember, there to show you how, lines go across a ship. And it's like a wind tunnel, but with particles. Cinematics-wise, when the team planned cinematics for Squadron 42, they were torn between using the player perspective for increased immersion and a more filmic camera that could focus on the cast and reveal performance details the players could otherwise miss. As the game doesn't cheat the player's presence in cutscenes due to the unified first and third person player rig, they realised they could potentially have both. Additional code was added to enable the player entity and the camera to be controlled via track view, which allows the player to switch between points of view with a button. By default, these new break-free scenes use third person, but players can choose to break free and watch the scene from the player character's point of view whenever they want. The player can return to the filmic version with the press of the same button. This also allows the team to show more of the customized player face and body, and when the player looks around in first person via limited look ranges specifically for that cinematic, their actions are visible when switching back to third person. They also continued to block out key destruction sequences. They began working on EMP effects, making use of some of the new GPU particle improvements to make sure it doesn't look too similar to lighting. It doesn't deal physical damage, but it is a force that needs to be represented appropriately, those EMPs. The gameplay story team also tackled scenes from Chapter 4 in the game, which the majority now either are done or planned for implementation. The remaining scenes will be worked on for the next few months until complete. And that's it for the Squadron 42 Episode 1 update this month. I hope you enjoyed that. I'm very much looking forward to those new Vanduul models. They look absolutely fantastic. But if you've got any questions or want to share your opinions on Squadron 42, I am interested to know how many people will be playing it. Are some people just focused on the persistent universe? They're like, well, I only want to play Star Citizen, or I only want to play Squadron 42, I only want to play that single player thing. We know that in Squadron 42, when you get to certain areas of the game, it will unlock bits and bobs for you for the persistent universe for that character. Is that a reason that you might play Squadron 42? Would you have not played Squadron 42 or wouldn't consider playing Squadron 42 if it didn't have the potential for unlocks for the persistent universe? I'm just interested in what people think of the single player versus the multiplayer sort of aspects of the game, or is it both? Are people just really interested in Squadron 42 and Star Citizen and are happy to play both of them, or is Squadron 42 just there until Star Citizen comes out as a more polished product? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Every month we have a giveaway for a Star Citizen ship. For April 2019, we are giving away a Drake Corsair with lifetime insurance. It's the new concept ship focused on exploration, and the loaner for that ship is currently the Constellation Aquila and the Buccaneer. To be in for a chance of winning, be subscribed to my channel and comment on any video that I put out during April. Full details in the description below. Need a PC or upgrade to play Star Citizen? Consider Shadow. Shadow is a cloud-based subscription alternative to a gaming PC, and it works with Star Citizen Alpha 3.5 better than it ever has. It leverages the power of the internet to give you a Windows 10 gaming environment potentially anywhere. Check out the links below or go to shadow.tech for more information. Use the code BoredGamer to receive a discount on your subscription if you do decide to try it. I'm not sponsored or paid by Cloud Imperium in any way. This is a Star Citizen news and fan channel that is supported by you, the community. Patrons, donations, subscriber stars, YouTube members, that little join button underneath my videos, all help support the channel and allow me to create regular video content, maintain a website, upload podcasts, and more. If you wish to go that extra mile, it is amazingly helpful. There is occasional exclusive content for those that do as well.